everybody. Tracy Allen, living in my truth. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Wednesday again. I told y'all this thing comes fast. God, it comes fast. Just like the award show is coming so fast. And I hope everyone is getting ready, because it's going to be awesome. I really trust and believe it's going to sell out, to be honest with you guys, because tickets are really moving, you know, so get your tickets. Yes. This topic today is called faith. You must have faith. We're going to talk about faith, especially when it comes to recovery. That is big. I was discussing that with my clients at work today, and it just stuck with me and stuck it with my heart. So I said, I think I'm going to make this the episode of Living in My Truth today. Come on. You know I have patience. I will wait. Okay, if anyone wants to support me by sending stars, I would appreciate that. Or again, if you want to send a donation, I appreciate that as well. And y'all ain't gonna believe this. I traded my phone and my screen is even bigger. Loving it. I love, this screen is so big. I'm going to wait for you guys to come on. Hey, Tracy Allen, living in my truth. Come on in. Hi, Sharon. How you doing? Come on in. Hey, Carla. How you doing? Faith is everything. Yes, indeed. Look, we got to have faith. Yes, indeed. I'm going to send you hearts on that one. Sometimes I don't know what this phone, oh, wow. I done messed up. Oh, there you go. Yeah, girl, we got to have faith. I thought that'd be a good one today. Any day, really. You know, thanks for coming on, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Without you, there's no me. You know, faith is everything. Yes, indeed. Hey, Veneer. My sister friend, how are you? Girl, I gotta have faith right now, because I feel like I'm gonna be like Dorothy shortly, the way this thunder and lightning is going on down here. Y'all gonna whisk me right on Oz. I hate the thunder and lightning. Yeah, my house feel like it's getting ready to pick up and blow. Loud thundering down here. Yeah, I hope you guys can make it to the event. It's really going to be nice, you know. Living in My Truth Awards, walk the purple carpet. Let me tell you how this is. This is like, it's just like if you go to the Grammys. You know what I mean? I want it to be like that. I want it to be such a beautiful time you know, and we get the chance to walk the purple carpet, you know, instead of the red carpet, you know, because purple represents recovery, also lupus, you know what I mean? Dress up and just be sharp and, you know, feel pretty, you know what I mean? And just do it. Hey, girl, and just do it, you know what I mean? Y'all know me. When I put a show or a program or something, I put my heart in it and I put my all in it. Everything is going to be represented to what it actually means, even the awards, you know. And you get dinner, you know, it's going to be gifts, prizes, entertainment, just good time, you know what I mean? And it's the type of time that, you know, I partied a whole lot in my life, you know, with getting high, you know what I'm saying, drinking all that crap. You don't need that to have a good time. I'm telling you, you don't need any of it, you know. So I'm trying to, you know, bring it on to people like, you know, every time Tracy Allen had a party, everybody was there. Well, guess what? This is the party I do now, you know, and I still want everybody there. You know what I mean? So nothing changed but drinking and drugging. You know, best thing I could have ever done in my life. You know? And, hey, Katanya. Hey, girl. I ain't seen you in a minute. Hey. Yeah. Look at you. And I'm going to put my glasses on because you'll be the first one to start that up again. Because you know I can't see. Yeah, Living in My Truth Awards, that's what it's all about, you know, and it's all about, you know, recognizing people, giving them recognition for being brave, coming on the couch. You know, this couch is getting famous, y'all know I always say that. Coming on the couch and, you know, sharing their strengths and hope. I mean, a lot of people share a lot of things, you know, and say a lot of things that they couldn't say or didn't want to share with anybody, you know, but, you know, this has opened it up for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? To come on and just be authentic and share your truths. You know what I mean? And anything, you know, I have a beautiful, beautiful audience. You guys are fantastic. You guys are so real. You know what I mean? And you show so much love to me and to any guest that I have on here. You know, and this thing is really getting around, y'all. It's really doing what God wants it to do. Hey, Dad. You know, it's really doing, I forgot to put my speaker on. It's really doing what God chooses for this to do. You know, so I appreciate, I don't even know if the thing is on. I appreciate all of you, every single one of you for, you know, I don't even think I had this thing plugged in. But I thought I did. But anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming on and just listening. You know what I mean? And picking up information and education, you know, on the life of an addict or alcoholic or people with depression. Y'all know how it rolls with mental health issues. You know what I mean? Families and loved ones are learning more about how it works in us, you know, and I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful that you guys come on. I really am. And for the return of, you know, the messages that you send me, they're just beautiful. And I want to say thank you. And I appreciate them. Katanya said, I know life been okay. LOL. Was going to say, where you... Girl, I be taking these things off still like I always did. Ain't nothing changed. Scratching them eyes, you hear me? You know, but I miss you, girl. I'm glad to see you on tonight. Y'all know it's also getting hot outside. You know, a lot of people want to be outside. You know what I mean? And that's okay. You could be outside, you know. But as always, you know, the replay, you could watch, you know, or go to YouTube. They all be, you know, be put on soon. You know, these just don't go right on. It takes a minute before they put more on. You know, I got to work on that a little better too. Yeah, today we're going to talk about you got to have faith. I'm telling you, got to have faith. There's no doubt. You know, not just in recovery, period. In life, if you believe in God or a higher power. You know what I mean? I like living in my truth. I just have faith. I have faith that I'll sell every ticket. You know what I mean? And so far, so good. You know? This year I did a little different, y'all. I have brought a part of the recognition in for distinguished civic impact recipients. And that's the ones of them that are going around. There's many of them. I can only do, you know, so many that is going around, you know, blessing, you know, the still suffering, blessing the sick and suffering, blessing moms with babies and, you know, helping, you know, feeding people, you know, giving people things that they need that are needy. You know what I'm saying? It is just a beautiful thing to see Trina, Amanda, Councilwoman Tamika, you know, Tanisha Palmer, you know, and Sharona and Felicia, you know, with the autism walk. That really touched my heart. It really did. You know, so I felt like they should be recognized and get recognition for what they do. You know, and they probably have been in other places, but they go the first time it's going to be on Living in My Truth. You know, and I am honored, very honored to give these women an award, you know, for what they do, you know. And then my recipients, you know, honorees, you know, I have 15 of them this year. Last year I did about 28. Hey, Anya, we are good. Y'all good? I was, if she's on there, my daughter-in-law. You know, we got Quanisha Swigert, Councilman Fred Green, Bishop Anthony C. Hanna. I had such a good time with him. Anitra Green. I had a good time with everybody that I'm getting ready to announce. Bayat Williams, Marta Cotman, Rufus Cotman, Tara Jones. I had such a good time with her. Reverend William Dr. Rocky Brown. He and I worked many years together in drug and alcohol, and he was awesome at what he do, you know. And then Erica Tillery, she came on and she shared her, you know, some things in her life, you know, about depression and you know, losing her child, you know what I'm saying? Mary Almond shared things that she's a mother of a child in her addiction, and God has been blessing her and her child, you know, because they both are in recovery. You know, I love Mary so much, and her daughter, you know what I mean? You know, but she's built around family addiction, you know. Coretta Kinder, this girl is so excited to receive an award for the first time of her life. And this is what I'm talking about. It brings so much celebration to people. You know what I mean? Some people have never received anything. You know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing to do, to feel and share and care with others. You know, Dr. Tracy Townsend and my girl Sharon Potts. Let me tell you something. That is my girl. You know what I mean? And I'm so honored to have her and, you know, honor her with an award. And the story on Sharon was supposed to be on last year, my first year celebration, but she had some, a tragic incident went on in her family, you know, and as she always do, Sharon jumped right to the spot of it. So I wanted to give her what she deserves this year. And she'll be back on to sit right back on this couch again. All of them. When you come sit on the couch, it doesn't mean just once. Nobody can tell a story in an hour. You know what I mean? I have so much more to share and tell, you know, even in my own story. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be time. It's always going to be information and education, you know, on Tracy Allen Living in My Truth, you know, sharing and caring, You know, so it doesn't matter, you know, if I get 5 people on here, 1 people or 2 people, we still gonna do this thing. You know what I mean? I understand, and I know how things can be, you know, but living in my truth, I'm gonna keep it alive. You know what I mean? Because I get a lot of people who watch this, y'all. It's doing beautifully. You know what I mean? A lot of people that comes on and don't even speak or say much, you know, but it has a lot of ratings. It's doing great, believe me, and views, you know, up in the 100,000s and stuff like that. So that means that the word is traveling, you know, people are interested. You know what I'm saying? So y'all keep on coming on and keep on spreading it to your friends. And please always share it once we go. But sometimes I get so hyped and I get into it, I forget to say, please share this. And when I first came on, I used to say it all the time. But you know, when things start growing and things start moving, you know, and sometimes, y'all, I just get hyped in it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that don't even cross my mind. You know, what would be crossing my mind is to get what I had in my mind out, far as that wisdom, you know, and caring and that sharing and that information and education that's, you know, I know, you know, can help someone else, because that's what recovery, that's what God asks us to do, you know, when we surrender, you know, and he help us. All he asks us to do is to share it. You know what I mean? Help the next suffering, you know, and that's what I do, you know. Hey, Hazel, how you doing? You know, caller, truth goes a long way. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, caller. Like, you know, some people still, hey, Breon, you know, some people, you know, just don't have it in them, you know, to want to come into public and share their information. I understand that. You know what I mean? There's no shame to the game with that. You know what I mean? This is something that you have to have built in you. You know what I mean? To come and share, you know, on, this is just like being on a live TV, really. You know what I mean? So I understand that too, you know, but I work in the field, you know, and just living this lifestyle of recovery is okay with me. You know, I can go. You know what I'm saying? I can go, and I have no shame to what I used to be and what I used to do. You know what I mean? I am stronger, wiser, and I have faith. I have faith in my higher power. You know what I mean? To keep me strong, you know, and to continue to do what I do. You know, sometimes when I'm sharing, you know, people be like, dang, you know, yeah, I can talk about it all. It just keeps me stronger. You know what I mean? And it keeps my faith in my God, you know, so much stronger, you know, to give me that power, because that's power. It gives me that power to sit in front of millions of people, if it was, or thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and share, you know, my strengths and hopes. And that comes with your befores and afters. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a pleasure for me, you know, to come on and share. Veneer saying, praying all going to work out for you, living in my truth, Tracy. Thanks, baby. I know you are. You know what I mean? You guys come on every week. You know what I mean? And, you know, for a lot of the people that comes on and share, you guys give a lot of good information. You know what I mean? And always on a respectful level. You know, and I really appreciate that. You know, when people get up off this couch, y'all, they feel good. You know, they feel like they took a lift off their shoulders. You know, people who come on that are authentic. And I don't think I have had any that has not been authentic, you know, with their truths and with their selves, you know, that, you know, appreciates this platform. Is an open platform for, you know, anybody to come on with any type of addiction. I'll open it up to all, you know, because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? We got one high power. You follow what I'm saying? And I know that he blesses us, you know? So, you know, when we come on here, you know, we strong. Let's stand strong. Let's continue to do it. You know what I mean? Hey, Winnie, how are you? You know, so, you know, with, you know, all these honorees that I'm doing, You know, a lot of them is actually filling up these tables. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have to really be careful with the amount of tickets that I can sell in Dream. You know what I mean? So I know next year I'm gonna have to go to a bigger establishment. You know, because God's gonna bless that. You know, and y'all know, word get out. We had such a beautiful time last year. You know, but I appreciate every last one of you that have come set on this couch, you know, and all these remarkable women, you know, that has reached out, you know, and help people. You know, God asks all of us to do that. We all have that walk that he chooses for us, you know, and everybody's doing a great job at it. And you can still get, you know, a sponsoring page or quarter page or half a page in the book. And it's also going to be digital, y'all. The sponsoring book. I'm all slow. I didn't even know they do on digital. It is often saying so many things that get done today. I tell you, this digital thing is powerful. You hear me? So, yeah, y'all, I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate everybody that has contributed so far. Everybody that has sent me a donation, it don't matter if it's from 50 cents to 20 cents or $1 to $3. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because all of it adds up. You know, I'm just shocked that this thing wasn't on. This is crazy. Let me try something real quick. Yeah, yeah, I've been thinking about faith, y'all. I've been talking about faith all day. Oh, there you go. I've been talking about faith all day long, you know, at work. And we was just getting it in. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was just sharing, you know, and caring and coming forth, you know, with a lot they had to say, and they had to learn about faith, because as an addict, we lose faith. You know, we lose faith, and some of us don't even know what faith feels like, you know, or trusting in somebody, you know, things of that nature feels like, you know, because we've been so scorned, you know, in our addiction that even if you did know, you forgot, because disease wipes it out of you. You know what I mean? It don't make you believe that God even exists. I know it didn't for me. You know what I mean? I could share that. I could share that about me. You know, I come from a woman of faith, a woman of God. My mother stayed in church, you know, and she always, when she was an usher, she was on the choir. My mother took us to church almost every other day, you know, coming up. But, you know, as kids, you know, some of us don't really listen. Some of us just go because we have to, you know, and sometimes being scorned in life as a child, you know, you just don't want to hear it. That's how I was, and I didn't believe it, you know, because I dealt with other things that, you know, took my attention, you know, on belief, you know. And when I got to my own age growing up, I chose society over church. I chose society over everything because I wanted to be out there in it. You know, we were sharing that today as well. You know, and a lot of them say, I say my first drug was society. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have any faith, you know, in going to church, or, you know, hey, Ahmed, congratulations on your book. I didn't have any faith in going to church and learning, you know, all those type of things. I thought God didn't like me, you know, because when I would pray, you know, as I thought I was praying, you know, my prayers didn't get answered, as far as I'm concerned. But today I know that they all did. You know, but back then as a kid, I wasn't feeling that. You know what I mean? So, you know, through going through my addiction, you know, I had to go through to get through to come through, you know, and that's how I end up learning, you know, everything that I know today. And I'm grateful, you know, I'm grateful that I'm still here to be able to talk about this thing. I don't have no shame to my game because I didn't believe in God. You know, I was a kid. You know, so I didn't have it in me, you know, to understand that, you know, God is everything. You know what I mean? But guess what? I'm making up for it. You best believe that. And I am so grateful that I know him now. You understand what I'm saying? And I know he's going to always be with me and take care of me, you, and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I have total faith in him. You know, total faith. You know, we have to have faith. We have to have faith. You know, can't live without faith. You know what I'm saying? Can't breathe without faith. You know, you got to live by faith. You know, can't move without it. You know, I can go on and on. Faith brought me this. It brought me all of this. You know, it brought me this, who I am today. You follow what I'm saying? Faith just keep coming to me. You know, and it has built up inside of me, you know, that I have now complete trust in him by faith. You know, I just feel good when I say that. You know what I mean? I feel real good when I say that. You know, it's like authentic and transparency. You know what I mean? From things that I have been through, you know, to get through, to come through, you know, and to do what I am sent to do, you know, in what I do, you know, far as, you know, giving you, you know, strength and hope and care and concern, you know, and try to offer you, you know, the information and education to have faith and to know that God works. You know, we call it a higher power, you know, by choice. He's God for me. You know what I'm saying? But I reach out. What I do now, I reach out by faith. You know what I mean? I serve on this show by faith. You know, I can't get enough of it. I just love it so much. I really do. You know, no God, no faith, no peace. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta have that. You know, a God of your understanding. I can put it that way. You know what I mean? We just have to have it. You know, or things, you know, may not work out for you. You know, in recovery lifestyle, in life period, as far as I'm concerned, in life period. You know, I move the vessel for God. You know what I'm saying? But I know now God maintains my spirit. You know, because I just love him so much. You know, and faith is something that you can trust. You have to believe in, that you can trust, and it taught me how to trust people. You know, and trust the 12 steps. You know what I mean? Trust the process of the 12 steps. You know, trust that there's a God. You know, to trust, period. To trust myself. You know what I mean? Because I didn't trust myself for a long time, because I didn't think in the era of trust. You know, when I was doing what I was doing, that's what I was doing. I was doing what I was doing, you know, and, you know, I didn't have to trust nobody but me. You know what I mean? But I did trust them streets. I did trust going out in them streets. Them streets had more trust over me than I, you know, I had more trust over in the streets that the streets had in me. You know what I'm saying? And it just treated me bad, even when I thought it was treating me good. You know what I mean? So, you know, learning and having that faith. Hey, Lucius, how you doing? Yeah, learning and, you know, to have faith, you know, in my higher power, brought faith in myself. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Step 5. Let me read step 5 to y'all. Step 5 says, admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs. That wasn't easy for me. You know what I mean? I had no faith in that whatsoever. You know what I mean? I'm like, I ain't gonna be going around telling nobody, you know, my business, you know, and all the stuff that I did. You know how they gonna look at me? You know what they gonna say about me? They already look at me now like this was the thing. Oh, she lunching now. She done. You know, she ain't coming back. You know, these are things I used to hear. These are things that people used to say about me. Man, she out there on them streets. You know what I mean? Smoking that SHIT. you know, and I had no cares and concerns about that, what people were saying. You know what I mean? My brain was in a charade of puzzle. You know what I'm saying? In the matrix some freaking where. You know, so it didn't matter to me what people were saying because I couldn't see myself like that anyway. I never thought I looked bad, y'all. I really didn't. I never thought I looked like the way people said I look. You know what I mean? But looking back, it was worse to me. Shoot, y'all gave me mercy. You follow what I'm saying? I was 82.5 pounds. You know what I mean? Face sunk all in. You know what I mean? Just not Tracy Allen. You know what I'm saying? Not Tracy Allen. I was not a woman who had faith. I was not a woman who really believed that God works. You know what I mean? Disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it had my brain all over the place. This is how cunning it is, though. You know, it takes you from God. You know what I mean? Because what it does is it tries to destroy you. And I've raised under God, you know, and knowing, you know, who God is. My mother made sure that her children knew that. But that's only to find out that I wasn't listening, so I couldn't hear no way. So it was no way that I can actually see, you know, until I became, you know, the boss of Tracy, you know, and I had to learn those three things. I had to learn how to listen so I can hear, and now I see, you know, and I thank God for that, you know, but I had no faith in nobody or nothing, not even in myself. You know what I mean? When I was out there doing the things that I would do. I was sharing with my clients today. I said, look, I said, when I was out there in them streets, you know, I said, I can thank God today that I wasn't one who ended up with AIDS, because that's when it first came out back in the 80s, y'all. You know, when we was youngsters. Hey, Marquise, you know, and, you know, syphilis was out, of course, gonorrhea, you know what I mean? God did not allow me to get AIDS for all the things that I was doing to get AIDS. You know, he didn't allow me to get syphilis with all the things I was doing to get syphilis, you know, sexually wise. But he said, you know, you're gonna have to know that, you know, what you're doing ain't cool, you know what I mean? So I definitely shared that gonorrhea in my life, you know what I mean? And the crazy part about it, disease is so vicious, you know what I mean? It don't even allow you to know you sick, you know, until you spread it. You know what I mean? That's a disease that spreads, all of them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how I got it, didn't care, didn't know. I end up over, remember it used to be Fish Street, y'all, where the clinic used to be. Man, they knew me personally. You follow what I'm saying? You know, I had no faith in nothing or nobody. You know, I didn't care about any of that when I was out in them streets like that. You know, and I was quietly out in the street for a long time. You know, and a lot of people, because I wore so many masks, a lot of people didn't know, but a whole lot of people did. You know what I mean? And it didn't treat me any different than it treated anybody else, especially someone who didn't have faith. You know, disease crack us down tremendously bad. You follow what I'm saying? It's out to kill, and that's exactly what's the target. You know what I'm saying? To put yourself up against death, to put yourself up against, you know, the type of atmosphere that you know, you see that today, be all on these phones, you know, on the news all the time, how people get picked up in cars. They call it trafficking today, you know, mostly, but how people get picked up in cars, you know, all the people out there that's doing drugs. Well, that was me too. You know what I'm saying? It's just that back then it's so different than today, but it's still the same thing. It just progressed. You know what I mean? Because the ones of us that's getting high and on drugs and became junkies, you know, and downright alcoholics, you know, that had to get money some kind of way because we couldn't keep money. We couldn't make money. And the only way we knew how to make money was that way, you know? So, you know, I get that deep where I could share that. I could tell that. You know, everything I've been through, it don't look like who I am today. You know what I mean? But it's reality, and it's real, and it's something that I always have to stand up to. It's something that I always have to admit to, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be sick no more. So when you accept the things you can't change and change the things you can, and then you get that faith. You have have that wisdom to know the difference. You understand what I'm saying? It just makes you strong. It makes you wear armor, you know, towards everybody who still know and want to talk smack. You can do that. People going to do that all they like. You know what I mean? They going to always have something to say about Tracy. You know what I mean? They going to always have something to say about the Tracy that they knew. You know what I mean? But not the Tracy that who I am today. You know what I mean? You really have to get, you know, really into me as I'll get into you. You know what I mean? I'm very authentic today, and I have no shame to my game. You know, but one thing I do know to save my life is faith. Faith is one of the biggest things that save my life and have me become who I am today. And I hope y'all can follow me on what I'm saying, because, you know, I roll at times, you know, especially when I'm starting to feel it. Hey, Rosalind, how you doing? Hey, Mare, what's going on? I'm talking about faith, girl. You know what I mean? It's it's like food. Gotta have it, gotta eat it every day. You know what I mean? Gotta taste it, gotta keep on eating it. You know what I mean? Something that I can't ever drop again in my life, you know, because it saved my life. You hear what I'm saying? Having faith saved my life, and it keeps my life on track, on top. You know what I mean? It keeps my armor on solid. You know what I mean? Having faith in my higher power. You know what I mean? Whom I choose to call God. You follow? And I love the fact that I've been through what I went through and what I come through. And some people don't understand that when I talk this. You know what I mean? Look, if it wasn't for that, you know what I mean? I don't know where I would be or what I'd be doing today. You know what I mean? But when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I took my butt to that rehab, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't like it when I went in it first, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't listening, I wasn't hearing, I ain't had no real thought of staying, you know, for getting sober. My thing was staying for getting back on welfare, you know what I mean? And getting me some more food stamps and some money so I can go right back to where I left off. But God, I'm telling you, the higher power that I wasn't even recognizing at the time came through people, through me, to me, in me, to help me to get to God. You know what I'm saying? And it taught me how to listen so I can hear and I can begin to see and to feel. You know what I mean? And I had to have faith. That's the first thing I was told. I had to have faith. I had to come to believe. You know what I mean? I had to open up the listen so I can get all of this, you know, ingredient to get me to even start to recover, to even start to make change in my life. You know what I mean? And I thank God today that I did. You know, I thank him, you know, for helping me, you know what I mean, and touching me, you know, and giving me these people who shared what they knew to me so I can get my life right, to share to somebody else who was just like me, you know what I mean, you know, didn't have no faith, didn't know nothing, you know, didn't have any sense of wanting to get clean. I just thought when I came in, did what I had to do, get some money, go back out, I'd be strong enough to go back out for another round. But I ain't had no more rounds in me. I ain't had no more rounds in me because the things I've done and put my life up against y'all is crazy. Crazy. It's like in the movies today. Real shit. Real stuff. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'm watching certain movies. Some movies I can't even watch because it disgusts me. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I know this is just a movie, but for me, as a recovering addict, and an addict, it's real life. You know what I'm saying? So when I see certain movies, I don't even watch them anymore. Like, watch certain movies no more, because disease can come through movies. Disease can come through church. Disease can come through happy times. Disease can come through sad times. Disease can come whenever the hell it wants to come, because it lives with me, inside me. I just got that one word, two letters, one syllable to say, no, not today. You know what I mean? I hear it when it's calling. I hear it when it's talking. You know what I mean? But I shuts it down. You follow? I shuts it down because I know that is me. I know that it's that voice, you know, that's in our heads. You know, y'all think we just go out there and just do this, you know what I mean, and get all these thoughts and thinking and all this stuff, you know, in our heads, you know what I mean? But there's a voice up there. It's literally a voice. It's two of them. It's the me and it's the it. You know what I'm saying? And the it got me first. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. It is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it don't play. Once it start disintegrating that brain and breaking that brain up into all them little pieces, like I tell y'all, like the Matrix up there, it's hard to get them pieces back together. It ain't easy. That thing is powerful. You hear what I'm saying? And it makes you think that you making sense, and you ain't making no sense at all. You can't even see. You can't even see that this is what's happening to you. So know that with your loved ones, you know, and your family members. It's not deliberately. It's just what it do. It's what the drug and alcohol and disease do to you. It just take control. It takes control. They not faking it. You know what I mean? They just don't want it. They just don't know how to get off it. They don't know how to say the one word, 2 letters, 1 syllable. You follow what I'm saying? Because disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. You hear what I'm saying? And it'll make you think the total opposite of what you think you thinking. That's the crazy part about it. You know what I mean? And faith what? Ain't no faith coming in this thing. You understand what I'm saying? You got to get it. You know, to know what it is. You understand? To feel what it is and surrender, you know, and ask God's help. Ask for God. Just say it. You know what I mean? And just keep saying it. That's what I had to do until I felt it. And when I felt it, the feeling was better than the hit that I got from cocaine. And nothing in my disease world can take that feeling. Nothing can take it. The thing about it, the crazy insanity of this thing is I never felt it twice. But when I pray and I have faith in God, I feel it every time I talk to him. You understand what I'm saying? I feel it when I'm not even talking to him because it's a part of me now. You know what I mean? It's my medication now. You follow what I'm saying? I had to go through to get through to come through, and I know who he is. You know, faith got me believing. Faith got my life where it's at. You follow what I'm saying? Thank you. Thank you for being on here with me. It gives me the opportunity to share what I'm feeling. And right now, I'm getting high as hell. You follow what I'm saying? Because this thing get me in a place where I don't even want to come out. You follow what I'm saying? When I get to talking about this thing, you follow? I love it. You know, I love it. And the feeling that comes from it is beautiful. You know, it's beautiful. It's like just a whole lot of love. It's like a whole lot of feelings, all great feelings. And, you know, knowing that God and Jesus is walking right side by side me and over me when I'm asleep, when I'm woke, when I'm eating, you know, when I'm doing this. You follow what I'm saying? That's the greatest feeling in the world. That first hit can't touch it, and nobody could tell me that first hit wasn't beautiful. You follow? It was the devil. It was the devil. You follow what I'm saying? It's the devil that snatched me right on out of my body. It snatched me straight through like a predator. Pop, pulled every bone, every feeling, every part of conscience that I had, and took control. Took control, and it started when I was a little girl. I understand it today. I understand it today. You know, being able to listen and hear and coming through these 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous brought me back to living a normal lifestyle. And not only a normal lifestyle, it has made my life greater. It has made my life just what God has set for me. And I love it. I love every minute of it. I love every piece of it. You know what I mean? Them 12 steps was established, you know, for us. You follow? For us. They've been around for a long, long, long time. You know what I mean? And some people say, like some of my clients were saying today, well, I don't feel like I have to have all of that. I told them I can't make you have all that. I can't make you believe in what I believe in, but I'm going to share what I know. You know, because something that I'm going to say is just going to touch home base. But you have to have faith in what you're listening to. You know what I mean? You have to have faith and have a higher power that will allow you to restore your sanity so that you can listen and you can hear, and then you'll start seeing and you'll start feeling. You know, because the enemy is your high. The enemy is society. The enemy is these same people, places, and things that you're going back around thinking that they're family, thinking that they're cool, thinking that they're friends, and it's just disease laughing at you. You follow what I'm saying? Making you come in here and feel like you sharing and you caring and you doing this and you're lying. You know what I mean? You got to get honest. You got to get honest. So disease always not allow us to get honest. Because see, the minute we start start getting honest, the minute that we start thinking about we want to make change, the minute we say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, these things is weakening disease. You know what I mean? Even though it's cunning, baffling, and powerful, but it weakens it. It weakens it enough so you can wake up, you know, and you got your higher power that's right there with you, and you got faith that he's going to help you. You know what I mean? And faith and let God whoops disease, but can't beat us. Can't beat us. All we got to do is keep it. We got to keep that faith. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know life be lifing, right? Life be lifing. You know what I mean? It ain't no time to be playing. It ain't no time to be acting like, you know, half of you, you know, feel like you want this and then the other half feel like you don't. So you're going to have to stay on the side of the half that wants it, you know, and understand the side of the half that don't want it ain't nothing but sickness. It's nothing but disease that's cunning, baffling, and powerful. You hear what I'm saying? Because it's you. It's the voice. I call it the voice. You hear it. You hear these decisions that you make before you do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that it will allow you to recognize. You follow what I'm saying? It just do what it do, when it want to do, how it do it, and gonna do it because it can do it. You know what I mean? So you got to learn what disease is. You have to learn that having faith and having a higher power is what's going to get you where you need to be. I tell you that for sure. It's going to get you where you need to be, because guess what? That's the only thing can save this thing. That's the only thing can fight and beat this thing. I'm going to tell you, because otherwise this thing going to take you out. It's going to take you down, because you got to have that strength, that hope, and that understanding. You have to have it. You hear what I'm saying? I don't care how you get it. I don't care how you get it, as long as it reaches that higher power called God, or whomever you want to call your higher power. You got to have something stronger than yourself that's going to definitely help you to restore that sanity. Trust me. Trust me, I can say that 150%. Who's this? Mariana. I never even knew about recovery until I started at Keystone Center. I was thinking, wow, it's helped for all the suffering. And I knew at that point I had to be the one who helped at work. Hey, look, Mary is one of the best nurses in our job. I'm going to say that even if the other ones are watching. You know what I mean? They all okay. They all good, but Mary is God sent. You know what I mean? We as addicts, we have this thing where, you know, I always say you can smell them. You know what I mean? We know when somebody is being real and just showing us love. You know what I mean? We know when somebody really wants to help you. You know, because the first thing addicts will say, or alcoholics will say, when we go into a rehab is, did you ever use? If you say no, you better go ahead somewhere. You ain't ready for me. You know what I mean? But Mary's been there, done that, lived around that, grew up around that. She has plenty of information and education just like you. You know, if you have that type of information and education or live that type of lifestyle, you ain't, for far as I'm concerned, you ain't got to go to no college to be a counselor. You ain't got to go to no college to be a junkie. You ain't got to go to no college to be a sober person. You follow what I'm saying? This is real life in here. You know, this is some real deal here. And if you have that, and all you got to have is faith and love of God in your heart, and that's anybody can be like that. Not just us recovering addicts. Anybody can be like that and help somebody. And help somebody. You follow? A lot of us go into this thing and don't care and don't have the bitter understanding about it. Sometimes it's a 9-to-5 job, but you know what? It shows when we at work. They love her. They love her. You know what I'm saying? They love her. You'll always hear her name. You know, when you have the love from a recovering addict or even an addict, you know, they'll come in and say, is Mary here? Mary still here? Is Jeff still here? You know what I'm saying? You know, is Miss McKinney still here? Is Miss T still here? You'll hear them saying that. You know why? Because they know they're going to get something. They know that they're going to get some information, education, no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be true to them. You're going to still love on them, but you ain't going to take their shit either. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give them the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me who? Back to him again. God. You follow what I'm saying? Got to. You know? And Mary, I commend you. I really do. I commend you. You know, from day one, you know, I started working with you, you know, at Keystone. And Mary has way more years than I do. You know what I'm saying? She is definitely a nurse that's fit for this field. There's no ifs and buts about it. You know what I mean? Alicia Davis said yes. Let me bring that back down. Alicia Davis says yes. Mary Almond is all that, and she's real, and she cares about people. There it is. There it is. Hey, Carolyn. There it is. You follow what I'm saying? Mary's saying they sure will. Yeah, they'll do that. You know they'll do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, she has the love for people. You know, and I mean, it's quite a few of us in there that has the love for people. You know what I mean? But we, the addicts, can tell. We, the addicts, we connect. You know what I mean? Even when we talking dirty to you, even when we treating you like the way we treat you. You know what I'm saying? We know whether or not you got skills. We know whether or not you know what you're talking about. We know whether or not you're coming from a freaking book. You know what I'm saying? We know. That's why I keep it real. You know, I don't have a problem with letting them know that I'm an addict and I'm from the street and I do what I do because that's the medication that they need. That's the language that we understand. You understand what I'm saying? Because our brains is in the matrix and it's up there. We doing everything wrong, not right. You know what I mean? So we can smell it. We can smell somebody we can take advantage of. We can smell somebody who talking crap. You know what I mean? We can smell somebody who don't care because they're suffering. They are really suffering, and they are looking for somebody just to love them and understand them and help them. You know what I mean? Regardless to the way that they are, regardless to the way to how they act. You know what I mean? We need to teach them. You know, we need to teach them. We need to teach them that God is real. That higher power is somebody that you need. And by the 12 steps process of Narcotics Anonymous and Alcohol Anonymous, that's exactly what it does. You know, and it goes step by step. And they say, man, 12 steps, that's a whole lot. I tell them, you ain't think about them steps your butt was out there taking to go get that dope. You don't think about the steps and shit you got to go through out in the street to get that alcohol. You don't think of nothing like that. Hell, snow, rain, sleep, or hell. I know I walked through it all. I went through it all with no shoes on. You follow what I'm saying? This is real, you know? So you have to slow down. You have to sit down and you have to learn how to just listen sometimes. You got to learn. You ain't even got to have been that to not know how to listen. You know what I mean? This information is for any and everybody because something in it, you'll get something out of it if you listen. And that's a fact. You know what I mean? But we don't know how to do that and stay still and stay steady because disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it drained us of all of that. We don't know how to do it no more. We don't even know how to feel it no more. You know, we got to fight and struggle to sit down or fight and struggle to come to group. We got to fight and struggle to want to listen to you. We got to fight and struggle to think we listening to you and we ain't hearing a word you say. So that's why when we come in, we go in and go out with the same thing. You follow what I'm saying? Because that's skills and it's a process. And you got to learn how to do all of these things. It may sound simple to you, but it's hard as hell for us. You follow what I'm saying? And then you got to come to believe in yourself, and that's one of the hardest things. You know, so this is why it starts with surrender first. It starts with finding a higher power who's greater than yourself first. It starts with surrendering. It starts with everything you need to get you to where you need to be. One of my clients asked me, what was the worst thing I'd done in my addiction? I said, there's a whole bunch of worse things. I don't think nothing was worse than the other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I said everything that I tell y'all that I've done and I've been through, you know, I don't see where one was better than another one. All of it was the worst things. You know what I mean? I said, well, I'm going to put my answer everything that I done. You know, I ain't glorifying nothing that I was out there doing, or if you didn't do it and I did it, you know what I mean, or I did something that you didn't do. Hell, doing drugs was the worst thing that I could have done in my entire addiction. You know, even before I knew I had an addiction. You know, taking that first hit, taking that first drink, taking that first pill. You know what I'm saying? Smoking that first weed, all of it. All of it. If I knew what I knew today, then, hell, I wouldn't and never mess with none of it. You know, but that's not how the plan was. That wasn't the plan for us, for part of us, that life be lifing. You know what I mean? That was the plan for us to lose sight of life. It was the plan for us to lose our senses and lose our mind. You know what I mean? And get control even more by their way, in the way they put out there in our societies and in where we are. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah, it was the way that they wanted it to be. You follow what I'm saying? They wanted us to make all these babies after babies after babies after babies. You know what I mean? So we can just go right out there and be all in these streets and be all in our neighborhoods clogged up with everything but the right thing. You know what I mean? Society became our life. You know, wanting to do things, seeing things, copying things, you know what I mean, believing in things that it couldn't hurt you, you know what I mean, because by generation, man, the junkies that I knew, they were some ragged ass junkies. Them jokers had the clothes on, you know, but the ones that was junkies had the big fat ankles, you know, with no shoestrings in the sneak, sitting on the corners. You follow what I'm saying? 9-0. You know what I mean? But then you had the ones that were sharp. You had the ones that they call functional. You know what I mean? That's why I say it's nothing functional about drugs. You know what I'm saying? But in the generation gaps, it went in different way. Life just was lifing in a different way until this type of life didn't get better. This type of life got worse, because that's what they told me in the rehab. You better get it together now, because this thing gonna get worse. You know what I mean? And they never lied. They never lie, and it's going to get worse after me. It's going to get worse after this generation, if the damn thing, world continue. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm so happy that I have faith in me and more faith in God than I have in myself. You follow what I'm saying? And I hope everybody can hear me and listening here tonight. You know what I mean? Share this tonight. You follow what I'm saying? Share it to somebody else, and make sure you share this live tonight, because I'm feeling this shit. I definitely am. You know, you have to get honest and open, and we must have faith. Like I said, yesterday we forgive, today we accept. You follow what I'm saying? Yesterday we forgive, today we accept. You have to accept the things you cannot change. You got to change the things you can, and have the wisdom to know the difference, you know, under any condition. Feeling that. Who's this? Michael T. Hey, Dar. Yes, sister, I hear you talk about it. I love Forever Sister. You know, keep the faith. Hey, look, faith is it. That's what this thing is all based on, faith. You know what I mean? The faith is the connection. You follow what I'm saying? Faith is what's going to keep you standing, sis. Faith is going to keep you growing. You understand what I'm saying? Faith going to keep you out of trouble. Faith's going to keep you alive as long as that he'll give us one more day. You follow what I'm saying? Because we got to have faith. We got to have faith in that higher power. You follow? Whom I choose to call God. And I continue to say this because it's my way of speaking, you know, in the recovery language. You follow what I'm saying? But anybody can have whomever God they choose to have. And that belief with Bill and Bob and all of them, you know, they added that in there because some people don't believe in God. You know what I mean? Just like today. You know what I mean? Even in the rehabs, they like, man, God don't work for me. God don't do this. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna never get me to believe that, Miss T. Well, all I could do is suggest it, give you suggestions. You know what I mean? I know he works. I know he works for me. You know what I mean? I'm only sharing it with you because you might see through me that God is real. You know, listening to my story. That's all I am, is a storyteller. You follow what I'm saying? When it comes to recovery, I'm feeling this. All I am is a storyteller. You know what I mean? I can only offer you what I got. You know what I'm saying? But I do have faith in God, and I share that first. You follow me? I share that first because I was the same way. I had no faith in him. I didn't believe in him. I wasn't feeling him the way I feel him today. Today, I put him first and foremost before me. You follow what I'm saying? And all good things and great things is happening for me. You understand? That peace just coming. It just keep coming, and it keep coming. And whatever comes through me, through that devilish disease, I can overcome it. You know what I mean? And I believe that. So no means no by any means necessary. You follow? That's why I use those terms. You follow? This is why I say to you guys, you know, sometimes I could pop here and I could pop there, but they understand. You know, recovering people, addicts and alcoholics understand what I'm saying. And that's the main purpose of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them to open up, listen, so they can hear. You know, then they'll start seeing that you need faith. You follow? I had to learn it too. This thing just didn't come to me. Just like drugs didn't come to me. I opened the door up for drugs. You understand what I'm saying? Now I done changed the locks. You follow what I'm saying? And faith keeps me going. You know what I mean? My higher power keeps me going today. You know, I can smell them. You hear what I'm saying? I can smell when disease is coming my way. That little joker, that little hussy, I call her Trey Trey. She comes in my sleep. You know, I remember she came in my sleep, had me shooting dope. I ain't never shot no damn dope, but I know that she can make you believe that you did. You follow? Because I felt it, and I don't even know what shooting drugs feel like, and I don't want to know what it feels like, so I got up, you know what I mean, and guess who I turned to? Aha! My higher power, because I had the faith that he'll get me through that night, and you know what I did? I did just what the process told me to do. I called my sponsor. You hear what I'm saying? I called my mama. I called my brother. You follow me? And all of them gave me what I needed to hear. And my sponsor said, did you do it? I said, no. She said, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. It was a dream, sweating and everything. You know, she said, well, that's the problem. It was only a dream. Disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And I need say no more. You pray. And guess what he did? He took it right out of my mind. He let me know, you know, it was only a dream. But disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. When I say powerful, I mean powerful. I jumped up in sweat. You hear me? I never forget that. I was living on 7th Street. In the apartment, and if anybody on here that knows, you know that part of me back then. Thing was crazy as heck. It was crazy as heck. And I always share it. It made me see that when I was listening in those rooms, what people were saying, you know what I mean? Saying about this devilish sickness, you know? And they were saying how, you know, they prayed, and because they had faith in God, you know what I mean? It helped fix the situation. And that's true. That's true. In the rooms, they share these kind of stories. And you know what? I remembered that. You know what I mean? I remembered all that good information that they offer you in those rooms. You know what I mean? Just telling a story. Just telling a story. I tell you, those stories is the best thing that could ever happen for an addict, to allow you to know that you are not alone and put you before what's coming to you and make you remember what happened back of you, what you did already. You know what I mean? Or what can come on the side, or what can come on the left or the right. You know what I mean? Because all you got to do is listen. Learn how to listen so that you can hear, and it will register with the truth. And the truth will set you free. And having faith in God is going to protect you. That's all you need. That's all you need. The rest just going to come falling in place. The pieces to them puzzles is going to just start falling in place. You know what I mean? Then you're going to have that conscious, you know, cleared out. You know what I mean? So now you got to lock down disease. You got to know that it's there. You got to know that it's never going anywhere. But it's a place called remission. You know what I'm saying? It's a place called remission in you. Lock it up. You follow? Lock it up. Take your house back over. You understand what I'm saying? And the house go from here to here, because this heart can't, and emotions can't work without your thinking and your brain. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they're the two most powerful things in the body. You follow what I'm saying? And you got to keep them clean. You got to keep them together. You know what I mean? In order to make righteous decisions, in order to make righteous, you know, think, you know, on a positive. You follow what I'm saying? And understand on a positive, because disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it takes that from you first. It attacks the emotion first. You follow? You just don't even know it's happening. That's the crazy part about this thing. You don't even feel it happening. It just happened. Who on here in recovery? Y'all know what I'm talking about is real. You follow what I'm saying? That's right. You know, we must have faith. You know, like I said, yesterday we forgive and today we accept. You follow what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying I can accept the things I can't change, and I can change the thing I can. You know, and understanding, you know, trying the conditions that we have, you know, to forgive others and myself in order for me to be able to love you, you know, or even to love myself. I have to be able to love me first before I love you. You know what I mean? Disease is so cunning, baffling, and powerful. You know, and life be life, and it'll make you think you already doing that, and you're not. Tell you, this thing is a tricky little thing. You follow? It'll definitely make you feel it. It'll make you believe it, because it's like Harry Potter with the wand. You know what I mean? Poof, it could put something in you, and it could take something out of you. You know what I'm saying? When they had the little fights with the wands, it's a vicious little creature. You know what I'm saying? But the more you surrender, the more that you accept things you can't change, the more information and education you get to understand, to know what you've been through, what you're going through, and what you had to come through to get where you are, disease weakens. It can weaken. It can weaken. You know what I mean? Never do it go away, but you can put it down. You follow what I'm saying? Don't think that you can because you can't, because you can. You can put it down, and like I said, put it in remission. You know, because disease is you. You know what I mean? It's a part of you now. You know, it's something that you can't get rid of. You just have to put it away. You follow, and you have to be able to understand it and how it works. You know what I mean? And how you can work it. You know, so that it can't take you out anymore. And again, I'll say it again. Faith in a higher power. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. There's no doubt. It's a sinful freaking world. You hear what I'm saying? Sinful freaking world. You know, and our higher power, it already knows it knows what the world is going on with the world. You have a lot of people who don't believe in him. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of people who do. You understand? That's that little devil called Iblis. I know a little bit about the Bible. You know, a lot of things about it. You know what I'm saying? I know what I need out of it. That's for sure. You follow? And I'm still learning a lot of it that is helping me even more. You know what I mean? Because I'm open. You know, I'm open. I know how to listen anymore. You know what I mean? I want to hear what's being said or what you have for me to keep me standing. You know what I mean? That's just going to allow myself to get better and greater and have that peace. You know what I mean? It's like having a halo over top of your head. It's like peace. It's like peace. I've never been in more peace in my life than I have today. And it's a lot more to come. It's a lot more to come because I have faith. There's a lot more to come. And what these 12 steps and the 12-step process promised me, it ain't failed me yet. It ain't failed me yet. And like I said, we look at this and be like, 12 steps, man, that's too much. Again, I didn't care where I had to go to get dope. I didn't care how I had to go get dope. You understand? I didn't care about the mask that I wore getting the dope. You know what I'm saying? Being a junkie and hiding it. You follow? I don't hide nothing today. I don't even hide being a junkie. You know what I mean? Because I want you to know what I went through to get through and now to come through. You understand what I'm saying? I want you to know it because of what I've been through, I can help somebody else. Hey, I ain't got a problem with sharing nothing. A problem with sharing nothing. And I didn't just get this way. I learned how to listen. I learned how to feel again. So I battled disease. I battled the sickness. You know what I mean? I started winning the feelings that I couldn't win without having these 12 steps. You know what I mean? Without having God in my life. Without having faith in my life. I couldn't beat it without it. You know, when I started gaining and getting all those type of things, man, this thing started getting weak. You know what I mean? So I was starting to understand how it works. You know what I mean? Because I got all this power now. I got all this power that I can whoop disease ass. And that's knowledgeably. You know what I mean? I can never get rid of it. You know what I mean? But I can always stay in front of it. And I have one word that is the greatest medication in the world. And that's one word, 2 letters, 1 syllable. And that's no. No means no by any means necessary. And I am so glad that I made it to this life today to just find out that it was just one simple word called no. And that is the antibiotic of addiction. It is no doubt about that because you have to say no at the end of the day. You follow what I'm saying? You just can't say maybe. You just can't say I will. You just can't say I did that. Every time it comes, it has to be no. One little word, no. One little syllable, two little letters, no. No has always been a protection word for us from baby birthing up. You follow what I'm saying? No, don't cross the street. The light is red. Green. You know what I'm saying? No, don't touch the burner. You'll burn yourself. No, you can't go outside. It's raining. You know what I mean? No has always been that protective word. Always been. And we go into our stages of life and disease make us forget that the word even exists. Because we never say no in our addiction. To trick, to steal, to do whatever it makes us do. You know what I'm saying? The word no, disease take, and it takes it away from your life. It takes it out of your body. It takes it out of your brain. You don't even know what it means. You follow what I'm saying? It's a word that it never wants you to remember and never wants you to know what no means. You know, it's crazy. May sound crazy, but it's real. You know, and it is the number one antibiotic for sickness. It just has to be no. It has to be no. No means no by any means necessary. And like I said, this is a simple world. You know what I mean? In simple nature. You know, our higher power, he knows it. He knows that this thing is messed up. You know what I mean? That's why he have us, save us. You know what I mean? To walk this walk, to be able to talk this talk. You know what I mean? And spread his word. He has the Bible. He has recovery. He has the 12 steps. You know, people that shares their religions in another way. Well, this is my religion right here too. You know what I mean? And he asked me to share it. You know what I mean? He gave me the care for it. You follow? And I don't have a problem with it. You know, and I could talk the truth about it. You follow? I don't clean my life story up. Hell, I'd be not telling the truth if I did that. But today he has made me authentic. That the truth is the light. You follow what I'm saying? And the truth will set you free. Because that's the only way out of this thing as well. You know what I mean? So just learning to have faith, learning to be honest. You know what I mean? All these things is powerful. It's too powerful for disease. Disease can't whoop us as long as we got it. You follow what I'm saying? So we have to reverse, you know what I mean? How we used to live and come to the way that we should be living and having that higher power, you know, and have faith in that higher power. And we got our swords, our armor on for this disease. We got our armor on, you know what I mean? It can't touch us. It can't touch us unless we don't say no. That thing sounds simple. It sounds simple, but it's not that simple. It's not that simple for us because disease is a vicious disease. You know what I mean? It's cunning, baffling, and powerful, just like these words was chosen for this thing. It's the real deal. So if you ain't never got high and never got caught up, don't want to. Listen to what I'm saying. You understand? You know life be lifing. Everywhere you go, you see some of all of it. You follow? So just pay attention. You know what I mean? And know that it's no good for you, not even sociably. You know what I mean? I got a thing on sociable thing, but to each his own. You follow what I'm saying? Dope is dope. Alcohol is alcohol. And that's the same two things that put us down because we did too much. You know what I'm saying? And some of us get, you don't know it's whooping you up all on the inside. You know what I mean? All on the inside. And we believe in God, though you say. We believe in faith, though you say. We go to church. We go to mass gym. We do all these things, though you say. But you still got this thing crawling inside you. You still got this thing making you believe that it's okay. And it's nothing but death. It's walking death. It's suicide. And it's a slow one. And that's the name of it. It'll make you think that you handling things. You know what I mean? Because you feed your kids. You keep your car. You got your house. You go to church. You know what I mean? You got money in your pockets. And you can't wait till Friday for happy hour. You know what I mean? Or situations like that. It make you feel like you the bougie one. You know what I mean? But an addict is an addict. You understand what I'm saying? An addict is an addict. That's just the flavor that it tells you. That's the flavor or where it puts you on that little thing like, it'll never happen to me because I could take care of my kids. I know a lot of them who still get lit taking care of their kids, but they ain't looking too good. You know what I mean? A lot of them dropping dead, and I'm just going to tell the truth about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, the first thing the doctor is going to ask you, do you drink a drug? And most of them will say, no. Because, see, that's not the truth. You follow? The truth will set you free.
Getting honest will set you free. Disease is a sneaky thing. It'll make you think that it's okay. It got you. It comes at all of us all kinds of ways. You follow? But I talk about it anyway. I talk about it anyway. Because I don't want nobody to think and believe they safe. You know what I'm saying? This thing got a way of doing all things. You know what I mean? I had, like I said, I had to go through to get through to come through. You know, my 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous as well as Alcoholic Anonymous. You know, I believe, I have faith, and I surrendered. You know what I mean? These are the flavors to my cake. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have none of that, you can't. I can't eat with you. I can't be with you. I can't have be around you. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a new flavor now. You follow what I'm saying? And it's called sobriety. You know, it's called staying clean. And I go through whatever I have to go through to do just that. You know what I mean? Because I make wiser choices today and wise decisions today. And I'm not mad at nobody who still do it. I mean, I'm just like, that's your house. I ain't got to come there. You know what I mean? That ain't going to make us not friends or not cool. I just understand that I can't do certain things anymore because I abuse drugs and alcohol. And some people say, oh, she thinks she this now or she thinks she that now. Come on, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Because guess what? Everything that you say keeps me strong. It keeps me remembering things. It keeps me just where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? And if you love me, you're gonna be with me and respect that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, stay where you are. You know what I mean? Because my circle is full, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But I love everybody that I've always been socializing with or to be friends with. But some of them just don't want to, allow my door to stay closed. You know what I mean? Offering me, this is this and that. So now I'm into what recovery taught me about people, places, and things. You got to pick and choose everything. Everything becomes a choice and a decision. You know what I mean? And I know what's good for me. I know what's not good for me. It's even with my kids. If it's dope going on in that house, this ain't coming in there. You understand what I'm saying? It allowed me to know the respect level that you have for me. You follow what I'm saying? But I know where I need to be and where I don't need to be because I know how to make the right choice. And I know how to make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Better you than me. That's how I see it. But I will not allow it to connect with my sickness. You know what I mean? You ain't going to connect with my sickness because I ain't going to allow it to because I have faith in God that as long as I do as he sees for me to do and want me to do, I know I'm protected. And I know I'm okay because, see, he gives me my medication every day. You follow what I'm saying? He makes sure I take my medication every day. That's why when I wake up, I thank God for another day. You know what I mean? I'm so freaking grateful. I am so freaking grateful. I love him so much that he pulled me out. You know what I mean? Just to do what I'm doing. I'll do this any day. I'll do it any day before I go back to what I used to do. You know, like I said, that peace. That peace is there. You know, that peace is there. Ain't no mask on my face. You know what I mean? I've been unmasking myself for years. You know what I mean? And we all wear masks. You know what I'm saying? And you got to really dig deep into yourself. And pull out all that stuff. You got to start down from the feet all the way up to the hair follicles in your body. And we got a whole lot of it. Everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody. You feel, hey, Jackie, y'all feel what I'm saying? Clean it up. Clean it out. It's okay. You're only going to be better. You follow what I'm saying? You ain't going to be worse. You're going to be better. It's going to lighten up when you get all that weight out of you. You know what I'm saying? Of the truth and the lies and the hiding and this and that and fronting and wearing all those masks. You know what I mean? I could spot it almost in a heartbeat. You follow what I'm saying? But I let you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at me and say these things, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names don't hurt me today. I eat it. You know what I mean? I eat it. I don't even spit it out. I swallow it so I can demolish it. You know what I mean? And keep myself strong and keep my armor on and not allow anybody to make me feel less of myself today. You follow? Because I got a higher power greater than me. You understand? That tells me I'm doing fine. Tells me I'm beautiful. Tells me I'm that to be grateful for what I'm doing. Tell me that I'm doing a good job. You follow what I'm saying? So anything can come from anybody else, so be it. You know what I mean? Because I know what I listen to, I know what I can hear, and I know what I can see. And if it's not what's in my ingredients for this cake I just told you about, you're not wanted. And so what you say don't make a damn difference. You know, but I'm going to always be open to help the still suffering and to help people who are not suffering. You know what I mean? Some people get mad. Some people get jealous. Some people think I know everything. I know enough to stay clean, and that's the most important thing for me. And that's before anything, anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. I'm getting down with this shit today. Woo! I tell you, I just love the feeling, man. I confide myself in him, you know. He let me know that he was with me throughout everything that I've been through. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you going through, you know, he was there all the time through the good and the bad. I understand that today. You know what I'm saying? It was my choices and people, places, and things that I chose to be around. You know what I mean? And being on that drug. And on that drug, I mean society too. You know what I mean? Look how people cater to the bars. I used to do it. Look how we used to go out and make sure people see us. I used to do it. You know what I mean? Look how you guys spend all your money buying drinks or going out so that people could spend their money to buy drinks for you. You know what I mean? I used to do it. You know what I mean? Set up men. I used to do it. You follow what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I used to do that I don't do today. You understand? And it's a lot of people that I made amends to, and they don't even understand why. And that's something. But it's okay. It's okay. I know I did what I had to do. I had to get it off my chest. You know, whether or not you received it, whether or not you accept it, you know what I mean? I did it for me. You know, because I'm the one that's suffering with this disease, and my steps tell me that I need to do that. It will lighten up weight on you, y'all. I tell you that. That's for sure. You know, parents are. I'm gonna talk about how, you know, parents are. How do you put that? Parents are only as happy, I wrote it down, as their sadness child, their saddest child. You know, remember that next time you meet a mother whose kid is struggling with addiction, a parent is so hurt and so upset. You know what I mean? My mother was, you know, when I went out there in the street, she would never thought that would be something that would be done, because she always taught us around all that stuff and not to do that. You know what I mean? My mother used to wait for a phone call, you know, for somebody to tell her that I'm dead or I'm missing. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing I got to feel when I got clean and my boys was out there, you know, just selling drugs. You know, I used to wait for that phone call, man. I used to, you know, when they used to call me and used to tell me my son Selena, he was in jail, I had relief on me. You know, I'd rather than be in jail. Listen to what I'm saying. I'd rather him be in jail than to be on the street. I thought he'd be safer in jail than he was on the street. But society is in there too. That's what they build it for. They build it for the ones of us that's out here living in society. When we do wrong, that's where they put us all together. Don't matter where we from or what, gangs, all kinds of stuff, they don't care. That's what they build them for. You know what I mean? So we can kill each other, you know what I mean, and learn nothing. You follow? Or how to live. You know, because in there you got to protect yourself just as well as you got to protect yourself in the street. You know? And people look at that and they read it wrong. You know what I'm saying? They read it wrong. You know? But one day, let me tell y'all, one day I got that phone call. You follow what I'm saying? I got that phone call, and guess what? My son is dead. You follow? Something a mother would never want to experience. You know what I'm saying? Never want to experience. You know, that thing hurt the core of my heart to this day. You follow? To this day. And especially when he was trying to change his life. You know what I mean? But society said, hell no. You've done some things. And we don't work like that. This is how we work. We don't care if your mother lost you. We don't care if your family or your kids lost you. You know, you came out here and you effed up in society by the things that you were doing. So you got to pay your debt. And that's what happened to my son. You follow? And you know what? I don't sit around and I don't try to make it up like my son ain't never done nothing. I ain't out there like them mothers. They did this and they did, and they did. My son was in there. My son was out in those streets. My son was robbing people. Robbing dealers. That's what he was doing. You follow? And so when you out there doing that kind of thing and you all lit up and you tore up, here go that disease again. It couldn't come through me, but guess what? It was trying to pull me through my son. You follow? Who started fighting it back itself. But the streets, you done too much in the street. And now you got that name. And when you do those type of things out there, I don't know one who still live. You know, they take you to jails, institutions, or death. You follow me? I say that again. Jails, institutions, or death. And my son got the death. You follow? So I share this with the guys in my job. When I worked in the prison, I shared that with the guys. You know what I mean? So maybe and hopefully they could see that and see how I hurt so bad. You understand what I'm saying? That they don't want to hurt their moms that way. If you're getting your life together, you don't have to stay here. You know, go somewhere else and build your life up. Because that's the plan that my son had. But he stayed around here too long. You follow, but see, they'll let you wait. You know what I mean? This is how they do things. They'll let you wait and forget. You follow? And before you know it, that's what they do. You know, so mothers, you don't want that. It's the worst feeling in the world. I still feel my son that day. You know what I'm saying? And it had nerve to be Father's Day. So every Father's Day to come around ain't no good day to me. And Father's Day didn't even do it. It's the mental part of how I feel. But I have faith in God who keeps me on my feet, who keeps my heart and keeps my mind on him so that I can make it through that day. You follow what I'm saying? Because that shit hurts. You know, it hurts. You know? I'm glad my mother didn't have to go through this with me. So you have to understand, it hurts these babies. It hurt the children. It hurt the friends, the close friends. It hurts the loved ones. It hurts the mother when you find out that your child or your father or your mother or your sister or your brother or your auntie or your uncle is dead, you know, because of this life. Hear me out, y'all. I'm talking real. Talking real. I could talk about that because, see, I lost my son too. You know? So I share it. I share it because it makes me feel good to share it. It keeps me in my faith with God. You know what I mean? Because he said it's okay to do that. Just tell the truth. And the truth will set you free. And that's what I do. I don't make up excuses about what my son was out there doing. I talk about what he was doing. You understand? Nobody wants to lose a child. But I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to put weight on me. Because, see, today I know how to lift weight up off me by taking a mask off and praying and having faith. Like I said, gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. You know, there's no deadline for becoming who you want to be. It's none. And like I always share, y'all, we all have a perfect timing. You know what I mean? I believe in that truly. You know, from the heart, that we all have a perfect timing. We have people who start getting high and relapse and go back to getting high, and relapse and go back to getting high, and relapse to go back to getting high. I ain't mad at you. You know what I mean? You just got to learn all these things that I was just telling you. And disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will allow you to take that back. It won't allow you to get all those pieces to that puzzle and let them go into the right places. It's going to have you confused between here and here. And this is the way that it works. But it's also the way that we live. It's also what we need to have ourselves You know what I mean? You can't let him have one piece and take your heart, you know what I mean? And then you think you're going to work right from the brain because the brain needs that. And you can't take the brain and let it, take the heart and let it have your brain because it needs the heart. You know what I mean? So one can't work without the other. The scientific belief shows that, if you go out here and I get hit by a truck and I fall out, you know what I mean, and my heart ain't beating, they put pressure in my chest and they keep my heart beating until they put me on a machine. But if my brain goes, then you might as well unplug the machine, because 9 out of 10, it ain't functioning well with the heart and one can't work without the other. You follow? That's how I look at that in life today. It's the truth. It makes sense. You follow? So you got to have this and this like this. It has to be like this. And it has to stay locked and keyed so disease can't get in any size, any way, not even for a crack in your finger. You know what I mean? It's like that house I talk about up here. If you crack the door, disease is coming in, just like we welcomed it from the beginning. Don't forget, this was a welcome disease. This wasn't something that we caught. It wasn't something that we catch. It was something that we said, okay, come on in. And it tricked us. And it made us feel like it was our friend. And next thing you know, we out here with no sense of mind, can't eat, can't poop, can't do nothing. We steal, we trick, we do everything that we say we never do. You know what I mean? So we never keep them nevers on those nevers. You know what I mean? And that's another thing, them 12 steps and the information and education from NA and NA in those rooms teach you. They tell us, don't say never, say ever. You know what I'm saying? And I try my best not to say never, but sometimes it do come out. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But it wakes me up and say, I ain't never going to try that no more. You know what I mean? So that's staying on top of my game. You know what I mean? Because I got faith in my higher power that will bring me to my sanity and make sure, girl, you heard what you say it never. I tell you, this thing is beautiful. This thing is beautiful. Addiction is giving up everything for one thing. And let me promise you this. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything. You know what I mean? It's like that reverse thing that I was talking about. You follow what I'm saying? This thing turns out beautiful, y'all. It really do. It turns out beautiful for you. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, you. You know what I mean? Because if you can't get you right through this disease, honey, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to just deteriorate and die because that's what it do. And that's what it's planned to do. And that's what it was put in us to do. You follow what I'm saying? So today we fight back. Y'all know we got to fight hard being back, sitting on this daggone earth. And part of that is one of the biggest things they put out here and designed. You know, that thing is beautifully designed. You understand what I'm saying? It's beautifully designed. You know, but we have faith in a higher power that woke us up to understand this thing, woke us up to know that this thing is not right. Gave us 12 steps to understand ourselves and to put ourselves back where we belong. You follow what I'm saying? And now we're stronger than ever, smarter than ever, and we're not doing the things that we used to do. And we're not thinking like we used to think. You understand what I'm saying? Because he gave us all. As long as we have faith in him, we're going to be okay. God knows I'm feeling this today. Believe me. Get ready to sum it up though, y'all. You know, being in recovery has given me everything, y'all. Everything of value that I have in my life. And when I say value, I'm not talking about my house. I'm not talking about my car. I ain't talking about the furniture in this house. It's giving me the life back in here. You follow what I'm saying? In this heart and in this head. You follow what I'm saying? It got me on the straight and narrow. You understand what I'm saying? And today, I can tell you, I'm not giving it up for nothing. You know what I mean? The house was just a part of my piece. The furniture is a part of my piece. The car is a part of my piece. It's giving me back everything that I put myself out to get. You know what I mean? It's giving me peace. It's giving me everything that I need. You follow? You know, this thing is vicious, y'all. I know. I hope y'all feeling me. Show me some hearts. I hope y'all feeling me because I'm going to send some out there. You follow what I'm saying? We can have a heart party. You follow me? I love this. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can have a heart party. You know, because I hope it touches your heart from the things that I'm saying because what I'm telling you is the truth. It is the truth. And that this sickness is cunning, baffling, and powerful. You hear what I'm saying? You know, and being in recovery, like I said, has given me everything of value. And I told you it's in here. And it's in here. It gives me again my life. I got integrity again. I'm honest again. Fearlessness, faith. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Faith, a powerful relationship with God. You know, and most of all, gratitude. You feel what I'm saying? I got gratitude today. And I love who I am. I love who I have become. You know what I'm saying? I am working and soldiering for my higher power because of the faith that I have in him. Because of what he puts in me to put out to you. You know what I mean? Loving it. You follow me? Loving it. You know, everybody has their walk. Everybody has their way. You know what I mean? Some of us can and some of us can't. And I hope I touch the hearts of people. I hope I allow the addict and the recovering addict, you know what I mean? I hope they can hear me and feel me, because everybody ain't got it all, and I sure enough don't have it all. But I got enough to share. You follow what I'm saying? Sobriety is the best gift that I have ever received in my life, y'all. In my life. You follow? And I'm happy. I am happy, and I am open, and I am willing to learn more, and more, you know, and what I know you will know, as long as I can come on this live and I can share it with you, you know. I ain't gonna hold everybody up, you know, more. I hope y'all enjoyed it, you know what I'm saying? But believe me, you have to have that faith, y'all. Faith is everything. You know, in your higher power. It is everything. And I hope y'all hear me when I say that. You know what I mean? A lot of us, we know we got to love God. You know what I mean? And we got to believe in him. You know, and I am grateful that I do today. And I went through it, to come through it, to get through it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's okay. Because guess what? I'm in it. You know what I mean? I'm in it. I'm in it and I'm there. You know, and I'm learning more and more and more. And y'all, look, don't forget, living in my truth. That's why I named this thing, because that's what I try to do. You follow what I'm saying? And when I have these award shows, y'all, I do it from my heart. You know, I really do this from my heart. This is something God touched me with. You know what I mean? Because I admire the people who comes on and help me help you. You know what I mean? Help me to give you some insight, you know, about what this vicious disease is, and know that we can get through it. You know what I mean? That's why we say to get through, to come through, to go through. I say it all different ways, you know, because it all means the same damn thing. You know what I mean? And shit sound good, too. You follow what I'm saying? But we have a language. We have a language that we speak. We have a language that we talk. And it comes from our higher power. You know what I mean? And he gives us this strength. And he gives us the hope and caring in our hearts to share it with one another and to share with you. You know? So how you say it or what you say, just get it out. That's all it is. I'm just who I am. You know what I mean? I'm in total love with myself. You know what I mean? But I love God more than I love me. You know what I mean? And I have faith in him in any and every way, shape possible. You follow what I'm saying? And I just love it. It's just making me strong. You know what I mean? It makes me wise, you know, and it's giving me peace. Because the hell I went through out there in those streets, I'm telling you, was not peace. Most of it was a fantasy. And you thought you could find your way out there, but a lot of us getting older now, we see it ain't all what we thought it was. You know what I mean? We've been through a lot now, getting wiser, and we see that it's not all what we thought it was. You follow? But that's how it's programmed for us to be. Like I said, even hanging out, not hanging out no more. You had to get through, to come through, to go through, however you want to put it. You know what I mean? And now you make that decision to say the streets ain't for me no more. You know? Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So everybody, look. Don't forget, Living in My Truth award show. We will walk the purple carpet, you know, just like the Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Get clean, get sharp, because that's what it's all about. It's a day of feeling you. It's a day of feeling pretty. It's a day of feeling sharp and coming to see your loved ones be honored for something that is so important and that is so hard to do, but you can come sit on a platform called the couch and sit down comfortably. You know what I mean? We have a ball on this couch. Even when we crying or when we laughing, we have a good time on this couch. And after we get off the couch, off air, we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I think last week, Andre and I, we didn't even know that the live was still on. Good thing we wasn't talking about no daggone body. You see what I'm saying? Y'all would have heard it all, even though what you heard, you know, but it was what they call it, a oops. It was a oops, you know, it's starting to happen on the lives. But look, I hope you guys can come. I hope you guys get a ticket, you know, and come have a good time. One thing I know y'all do know about me, every party I ever had, we kicked it. We had a good time. This one is no different. It's just no alcohol. You know what I mean? And it's no drugs. You know, it ain't even no smoking cigarettes. I can't stand them. That's another addiction. You know what I'm saying? You can come on here and sit on the couch and talk about that cigarette addiction. You follow what I'm saying? That's another thing they planted out here to make it look like it's normal. It's killing us. You follow what I'm saying? It's the devil. You know, it's disease. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. I look at everything that's like that as disease. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's all meant to be, or called disease. You know, and a lot of us out there living that dis-ease life, DIS/EASE. But once you get to know it, and once you put faith in God, and once you get honest with yourself and do what you're supposed to do as God wants us to do, that slash in that disease will become the word for itself, and you will understand it. You know what I mean? And no longer want to live with it. You know, but I'm going to say the serenity prayer. God grants me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I hope I see everybody, as many people as I can, at the Living in My Truth. Come walk the purple carpet with us, y'all. Get your interviews, you know what I mean? There's some powerful people that's going to be there too. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do the thing right. So next year I have to move it to a bigger place. You know what I'm saying? So come on out, y'all, and celebrate with us. All right? I'm going to see everybody. I had a beautiful time. I'm high as hell right now. You follow what I'm saying? And I know I need to pray and come down. You follow me? I hope you guys had a great time tonight. And I will be back in God's will next Wednesday. See you guys.